Morning everyone. As promised, this is the long awaited for warm-up video. Just some basic stretches that will help get you moving in the morning, and if you do nothing else in your day, then this is a really good place to start and just get your joints mobilized. So just start, if you can, in a seated position. You don't have to sit cross-legged like I am, if that's not comfortable, but we want to try and be in a position where our spines are as tall and upright as possible. So just take a moment or two to find what feels comfy for you and really get the sense that your spine has lots of space. So sitting as tall as you can and just letting your hands come to rest wherever they do, in your lap or on your legs. And maybe let your eyes close or lower your gaze. And before we start any yoga, we need to just get our heads into the place where we want to be for the duration of our practice. So that means trying to just slow down and shut out what's been going on in the outside world and starting to tune in with our inner landscape. So once you've got your eyes closed or your gaze lowered, bring your attention to your body as a whole. What's going on in your body today? What sensations are you aware of? Maybe none, maybe some. How are your shoulders feeling? How does your neck feel? How does your back feel? Perhaps already you're feeling a bit fidgety because you're sitting in a position that you're not really used to. Try and stick with it if you can. And just allow your mind to come to rest, really. Just being aware of the body sensations. If you've got any areas of tightness, just take your attention there and direct your breath towards the tight spot and see if you can just find a sense of release or a sense of letting go. And now tune into your breath. What's going on with the breath today? We're trying to get to the point where we can bring our breath rate down. So we're not forcing the breath at all, we're noticing how it is. But we're really bringing a sense of letting go to the belly area. So often we hold our tummies in, trying to keep our core engaged. This is not a time for that. Let your belly go and direct your attention to your breath reaching your belly. So a nice big inhale, and become aware of your belly inflating and deflating with the movement of your diaphragm. So we're not going to spend too long on this, it's just to bring your attention to your breath and how it moves your body. And then slowly opening the eyes, remembering that this is just a little warm-up practice we're doing today. We'll focus on a more full pranayama or breathwork practice at another time, but that's just a little taster of getting you in the zone for what we're going to do. So while we're sitting here, let's just let our chins drop right onto our chest. So sitting still as tall as you possibly can, and really feel the back of the neck getting a lovely long stretch out. Remembering, of course, that our neck is just an extension of our spine, so we're getting a lovely bit of flexion at the very top of the spine here. And then rolling your left ear round to your left shoulder. So really make sure that your right shoulder is pulled down here, that it hasn't gone up as well. What we're trying to do is encourage a lovely stretch down the right hand side of the neck here. And then rolling the chin back round to the chest and over to the other side. And just noticing if there are any differences from side to side. There invariably are. With all the stretches we do, you'll suddenly find a spot where it's easier on one side than the other. Oh, Percy's come to join us. And then back round through centre, once more each side. Hello, Percy. Back to centre, last time round to the right. And bringing your head back to neutral. And just checking in with your spine once more. Are you still sitting nice and tall, or have you slumped a little bit? So we're really just trying to be mindful of our posture here. What's the norm for us? What is our usual way of sitting? If we're used to sitting like this, maybe this is a good time to just kind of tune in with how things might be if we encourage them to be different. So from here, just take your right hand to your left knee and your left hand behind your bum, and sitting really nice and tall, just gently take a twist round to the left. So this twist isn't about the head and neck, really. It's more about the twist originating from your belly region. So really get the sense that this is where the twist is coming from. So we're not seeing how far we can go. We're just seeing how we are this morning. And then let's go round to the other side. So sit nice and tall first. Really tune in with what your spine is doing. And then let's see how things are this side. And then once more to either side. And then last time round to the right. And back to centre again. So there are lots of things to think about always, but with us in this lovely upright posture, what we're trying to do is create space between each and every vertebra, which will allow us more space to breathe, which will allow our energy to flow in a more unobstructed pattern throughout the body, which is what we're ultimately after. We want an unobstructed flow of energy. So sitting nice and tall, take your left hand beside your left hip, reaching up nice and tall with the right hand, making sure you're not wearing your shoulders around your ears, and just take a little dip into that left elbow. So what we're after here is a lovely opening of the side body, so from the hip right the way up to the armpit, and then up and over to the other side. So reaching up nice and tall first, and then dipping into that right elbow. And up we go again, once more each side. Last time to the right. And down. And while we're here, let's just take our attention to our wrists and start circling into our wrists. Lots of people have wrist issues. If this is you, it's worth spending some time just warming them up every day, regardless of what you're about to do. Keep them mobile. And bring into play your thumbs and your fingers. I've noticed that I'm starting to get a little bit of arthritis in my thumbs, so make sure they get a little bit of a wiggle and a workout too. And then take the circles in the opposite direction if you haven't already. And then take your fingertips to your collarbone area and start to slowly circle using the full range of movement you've got in your shoulder joint. You might find that your full range isn't as full as you would like it to be. So this is a really good daily exercise to do. Go back the other way now. Just seeing what is. Don't be tempted to do this at lightning speed. Often we can find out more when we're moving slowly. We work out where the knots are, where we have restriction, where we need to do a little more work. And this time, as your elbows come round to the front, bring them together to touch. And just hold it there for a moment or two. Really check in with your posture. Sit as tall as you can, and then take your elbows back so that we're opening in the front chest here. And then take that down. and just take a few little circles into your shoulders. Right, let's come now to lay on the mat. So you might want to watch this first before you get, it will stop you having to keep looking up and down. All we're going to do, I'm going to lay on my back and I'm going to bring my right knee into my chest, and then I'm going to circle into the hip joint. So nice, big, slow movements, exploring what range of movement I have in that hip today. And then back in the opposite direction. So really take your time with this. Do a little evaluation of how things are. And then bring that foot to rest, and let's see how it is on the other side. So imagine you're doing breaststroke legs, but just with one leg. I could do with that chair not being there. And back in the opposite direction. How does this hip compare with the other? And then bring that foot back to rest on the mat. And then from here we're going to just work into our pelvis area. All I want you to do is tilt your pelvis forwards. So what we're doing, we're rocking back and forth on the big bony part at the bottom of our spine. So when you're tilting the pelvis forwards, you get a gap underneath your back. And then when we roll it back the other way, we're flattening our spine as much as we can onto the mat. So we're just rolling forward and back, forward and back. You might need to adjust where your feet are. You don't want them in ever so close to your bum. You want them, just play about with it a bit and see which is more comfortable. You'll find a place where it feels just right. So just moving here, making sure that your knees are parallel and tracking forwards and they're not splaying unattractively out to the side. And then from here, just imagine that you are taking your knees, you're pushing through your quad muscles here, you're pushing your knees forward as you raise your hips off the ground. So just slowly we're going to tilt forward and back. So imagine that the energy is travelling in that direction. And also imagine that perhaps you've got an orange under your chin. So you don't want to be tucked in like this, and you don't want your head thrown back. You want it to be in a nice neutral position. So we're really sending the energy forwards into our knees, but we're firmly planted with our feet on the mat too. Last one. Just hold it here for a breath or two, and then slowly lower the spine down. Bring one knee onto the chest and the other, and take a little rock here. Just from side to side, massage your lower back into the mat, and then come to stillness, putting your left foot down and taking hold of your right thigh or shin, wherever you like. We're just going to circle into the ankles here. Again, take it nice and slow. And you might just want to check in that it's actually your ankle that you're moving here. Often there's a tendency, when we're not used to isolating our joints like we're doing now, there's a tendency to involve the whole leg here. I don't know why, men in particular seem to find this difficult. I shall be diplomatic and say nothing. And then bring that foot down and let's see how we are on the other side. You might find there's lots of creaking and cracking and terrible noises coming from your ankles. And reverse the angle. Really get the toes involved here too. Often our toes aren't allowed to be free, but really our good structural health starts from our feet upwards. Release your feet whenever you can and allow them to have as full a range of movement as they possibly can do, and you will reap the benefits. Right, so from here we've mobilised the ankles now. We're going to slowly roll onto the side and we're going to come up to a kneeling position. If you have, if your knees are uncomfortable weight bearing, just get a blanket or anything that will cushion underneath here. And what we what we want to do, we want our wrists to be under our shoulders and our knees to be below our hips, our toes to be untucked, and we want to be looking straight down. So once again, imagining that our spine is just an extension, our neck is just an extension of the spine. So we don't want to be up here, we don't want to be down there, not at the moment. We're just working out where our neutral position is. And how do your wrists feel when you're in this position? Are they feeling uncomfortable already because they're in this right angle? If you find that your wrists really aren't happy in this position, just find something, maybe a cushion, maybe a folded up blanket, and just have your fingers going downhill, but just put anything at the back of your wrist that decreases that angle here. And it just takes the pressure out. You might find that it helps. This is probably a little bit too fat as a support, but see how you get on with that. If you can, just stick with this. We're not going to be here for long. So the first thing we're going to do is drop our belly towards the mat, stick our bottoms out, and take a look up. And then we're going to reverse that. We're going to tuck our abs in. We're going to curl our head in all the way to the chest. We're going to push the mat away. So our arms are very active here. Hands are spread like starfish. So we're spreading the load. So we're going from cat, imagine this is an angry cat, into cow. Cat and cow. So all we're doing here is continuing our mobilisation of the spine. So really check that you're doming, you're doming through your shoulders here. You're getting as much space in between your shoulder blades as you possibly can as you push the mat away. So really push, 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 and then back the other way. And then coming back to neutral. From here, taking your left hand, you might want to watch this before trying to do it as I'm telling you. We're going to take the left hand, we're going to thread it underneath the right hand and see if you can bring your face down towards the floor. You may not get down there, that's not a problem. What we're trying to do is to get another twist. So if this is where you're at, that's fine. You might find that you want to put something there to put your head on. Otherwise, just go on down, come up onto your fingertips and look under your right armpit. So what we're doing here, we're getting a nice twist in the upper spine here. And then we're slowly going to come up and repeat on the other side. So just see where you're at with it. You might not be the same. And then back up to the top and move your cushion or anything out of the way. Now from here, we're just going to walk our hands a little bit further forward. And what I want you to do is push your bottom back towards your heels. Now you might find that this is where you're at. That's fine. Once again, try and get something that will help support you in that position where you can be in comfort. What I want you to be able to do is to come back to an extended child's pose, which is this. So without the prop, with or without the prop, you want your arms to be at full extension, so we get a lovely opening in the shoulder blades here. Really reach those fingers away. It's very active in the shoulders. And then we're going to slowly, slowly, slowly come up. And then we're going to take our body weight forward, just so that we're weight bearing in our hands. And we're just going to let our pelvises drop. Now, if there's any kind of pinching or discomfort at all in your lower back, just don't do it. Just slowly come forward, maybe just to here and back. We're easing into this. It's likely or possible that these movements are completely new for your body, in which case we need to take it very carefully. No point rushing ahead with this. We're just mobilising at the moment. So just working between these two positions here where we're working from our shoulders into our hip flexors. What we're trying to do, so often we get very tight in our hips. We've always been sitting all day, and this extension in our hips here just allows that to open up, and it stops it feeling quite so tight. So it really is a nice one to work with, but the trick is not to push ahead too soon. It's just working with what you've got and seeing how comfortable you are. So last one, going forwards, and then this time pushing yourself back. Bring your hands back behind you to find your feet and curl yourself into child's pose. This is child's pose. So we're totally relaxed. We've given into the earth. Our head is on the forehead is on the mat. Maybe you've got a folded up blanket or a cushion behind you here just to ease off. So we've taken a lovely little break, and now we're going to come up onto our feet. Right, so feet, very, very important. Onto your hands and knees again, and this time tuck your toes, making sure that even your little toe is on the mat. Now, if your feet aren't very mobile, this isn't going to feel nice to start with, but trust me, the more you practice this, the more open your feet will become, and the more mobile your knees and hips and lower back are likely to feel. Any tightness down here translates all the way up, believe me, it really does. If you've ever had plantar fasciitis, you'll know how horrible that is in your feet. This will really help stretch out the underneath of your foot. So first of all, getting used to having your toes in this strange position. For some of you, this will be more than enough, in which case just take a little break and then back again. For those of you who are getting used to sitting like this, start to bring your body weight back. And now think about your elongated spine, not thinking about your feet. So we're maintaining that lovely stretch in the foot while we sit nice and upright. And then let's come forward again, take our weight off our feet, give them a little break. Last time, tuck those toes, walk the hands back. And this time we're going to raise up. So we haven't got quite so much pressure in the foot there. And then untuck the feet and be nice and tall. Think about tucking your pelvis under here. So we don't want to be here, we don't want to be here, we want to be neutral. So our hips are nice and square. And then imagine you've got two back pockets, and take your hands round to your back pockets like this. So really winging your elbows in towards each other, so you're pinching your shoulders together, your shoulder blades. And then from here we're just going to push our hips forward as we lean back slightly until we feel these big quad muscles engage. This is what we're after. So once again, we're opening out the hip flexors and we're engaging the quad muscles. And then ease out of it, let your hands have a little bit of a break, maybe have a sway from side to side. And then let's do that again. Hands come back to the pockets. Really line yourself up nicely. Start to push your hips forward and then lean back slightly. So this isn't a back bend, we're just going far enough back to get these lovely big muscles to engage. Ooh. And then back to center. And now thinking about our feet again, let's tuck those toes once more. Let's lean back slightly until the quad muscles engage. So we're now stretching our foot and our thigh muscles. And try and reach round towards your right heel. You might be up here, that's fine, it doesn't matter. Let's reach up with the left hand and just take a little twist to look at that heel. Maybe you're touching your heel. If you are, really enjoy the stretch that you can here. If not, it's fine just to look back at that heel and then bring that arm down. And then let's go around to the other side. So looking at the left heel, maybe trying to touch it, maybe just taking a look, and then round. And then back down to all fours, hello badger. And give those feet a lovely rest. Give them a pat on the mat. Beautiful. And then slowly coming back down to your mat. And coming to lay down. Now, you'll remember I asked you to have a belt or a dressing gown, belt or a strap, anything like that that you can make use of. Now's the time to just grab it if you can. And keeping your left knee bent, hook your strap around your right foot and really drive your foot up towards the ceiling with your heel so that your toes are down towards your face, and you'll feel a lovely stretch. Well, it might not be lovely, you'll feel a stretch in your hamstring. So I haven't got my strap here, it's in the other room, which is no use to man or beast. So just imagine, try and keep your elbows on the mat here, keep equal tension on either strap, and just hold your leg here. So we don't want it as tight as it can possibly go, but enough for you to think, yep, that's my hamstring engaged there. And that's quite enough. And then release the tension, take that foot down. Let's do the other foot. Drive that heel up. Get both elbows on the mat. Hold the tension there. And then release the strap and take the other foot down. And this time we're going to cross the right ankle over the left thigh. We're going to very gently push that knee away. What we're doing here, we're opening the hip joint. We're just seeing where it is today. You might think, gosh, that's really tight. Then, you know, don't push it for all it's, with all your might. Just gently let it go there. And if that feels okay, leaving the knee where it is, reaching to grab or using your strap to grab behind the left thigh. What I want you to, or what I don't want you to do, is have to do this to grab your thigh. If you're having to take your shoulders off the mat, use your belt to grab your thigh. So head and shoulders are still on the mat. We're grabbing behind the thigh and we're just easing that in towards the body. And you should feel a nice stretch down the back of your right buttock into your hip area. So we're just easing that in. And if all that feels okay and you don't feel like you're under too much duress, just take that left leg up straight. So we're getting another stretch in the hamstring as well. And slowly bring that down, uncross that leg. Let the knees go right and left and right, back to centre. Crossing the left ankle over the right thigh. Gently encouraging that knee open. So we've got a nice figure of four shape here. Then leaving the knee there, grabbing behind the right thigh this time. Again, using the strap if you need to bring that leg towards you so that your head and neck are perfectly relaxed on the mat. And if that feels okay, hopefully you've managed to get a nice stretch going on here. Just driving that heel away once more, getting a nice stretch in the hamstring. And then slowly bringing that foot down, uncrossing that leg. Taking your hands out to the side and let your knees go towards the right, towards the left. Your knees may not go as far down as mine do, it doesn't matter. The important thing is that your shoulders and your head stay flat on the mat. This time we're going to stay over towards the left hand side. We're going to look towards the right. So we've got knees going one way, head and neck going the other. Then we're going to swap over, so head comes back first, take those knees over towards the right. You might find that you get a totally different stretch from one side to the other. For me, I'm very tight in my right side today. And then slowly back to centre. Have both knees into the chest and take a little rock and roll here. And then taking one foot down to the mat, then the other, taking one leg long, then the other. Taking your arms over your head, walk your feet over to the left-hand corner of your mat, so just your feet. And then take your fingers over to the left-hand corner of your mat, so that you're kind of in a banana shape. So your torso is staying where it was, but arms and feet are over to the left. Now bring your arms back to centre, walk your feet back to centre, and this time let's go to the right. So take your feet over first, and then your fingers and hands. Really enjoy the lovely open feeling you get down your side body. We don't often work into our side body, and this is such a lovely stretch for creating space. And then let's bring everything back to centre. Let your feet flop to the side, let your ankles be really relaxed. Bring one arm down by the side, then the other arm down by your side. Let your palms be upturned. And then very slowly bring your eyes to close. This is called Shavasana, or corpse pose. It's the most important posture or asana of your yoga practice. This is where we bring ourselves once again to stillness, like we did at the beginning of the practice. This is really tricky for lots of people who are natural fidgets or want to be getting on, but try not to neglect this part of any yoga that you do. This is where your energy just gets to flow in all the places where you've created space in your body. And if you find that your mind has already jumped onto your to-do list, what you need to do straight away, just gently usher it back to the ebb and flow of your breath. Really seeing which parts of your body are being moved by the natural rhythm of air entering and leaving your body. And if you can, just try and follow this motion for a good few breaths. And then very slowly we're going to bring some movement back to our fingers and our toes. Give them a little wiggle, maybe brushing your thumb across your fingertips. Bringing any movements that might feel nice. Maybe you'd like to take a little stretch here. Bringing one foot up close to your bottom, then the other. One leg up onto your chest and then the other. Taking a little rock and roll. And then rolling over to your right hand side. Just staying here for a breath or two to let your blood pressure equalise. And then slowly bringing yourself up to seated. And before you leap off your mats into the busyness of your day, just letting your gaze lower for the final time. Maybe bringing your hands to join at your heart center, feeling the energy flowing between your fingertips, and bowing your head in acknowledgement of the time that you set aside just for your body today, and hopefully your mind became involved with your body while it was working. And just take a moment to acknowledge just how amazing your body is. Namaste. I hope you enjoyed that little warm-up. There are a number of stretches there that you can do every day. You can pick and choose, but I think we mobilised all the major joints in the body. and a little every day is better than an hour every week. So just try and find a few minutes, if and where you can, just to keep your body moving. Thank you.